Bourbon, neat, no water. My rule, never drink water. Dick Cheney tortures people with it. Leads to an awkward taste. But enough about politics. A year ago, this week, my wife, who's here, Sama, and I, adopted a beautiful baby girl from Bethlehem. That's Bethlehem as in Jesus, not steel. And 5 months later, she delivered a beautiful baby girl here in D.C. So we went from 0 to 2 in 5 months. Our friends, thank you. Thank you. Our friends, the Eskimos, have 43 words for snow. New parents have 17 words for poop. The good news is Sama and I are getting 8 hours of sleep, just not in a row, sort of over the course of the week. Historical fact, the person who came up with the phrase sleeps like a baby was an 8th century eunuch who had never seen a baby and certainly never seen one try to sleep. We are trying to bring up the children, the 2 girls, correctly. I went out and got them their first children's book. You've seen Sarah Palin's new book, Heather Has 2 Hunters. But I have to tell you, watching my wife with the newborn baby is just magical. This beautiful baby, round head, bald, big, deep, dark eyes, and my wife in the morning with the big morning hair. It's Cousin It and Uncle Fester. It's a magical moment. Now, those of you, my wife was complaining not complaining, observing the other day that, hi baby, that she seemed to spend half the day feeding the 2 kids and half the day changing the children. I tried to be helpful and pointed out she seemed to be working at cross purposes here. You can only give advice. You can't force people to take it. The children were a big change, but getting married was a change too. Those of you who haven't gotten married, let me explain to the men. You're no longer allowed to dress yourself if you are planning on leaving the house. I tried this at one point, and the warden stopped me at the door and said, "Where do you think you're going with that tie and that outfit?" And I said, you know, if you go out like that, you will humiliate me. I said, I'm going to Chicago. I know people in Chicago. They will see you. They will call me on the phone. Sama, I saw your husband. I saw his tie. Are you okay? So now I'm a Ken doll, and I'm happy. Before we were married, I had collections of collections. I had great collections. I had one of the world's finest collections of air sickness bags. Class, in comedy, you see, there's the build-up, and then later there's the punchline. And you were jumping in and laughing at the straight line, which is just mean because that's my collection. We'll move on. I also had a great collection of Eastern European and former Soviet Union toilet paper. Sama, did you bring these people? So I think they're on your team on this, because my wife was actually very gentle and kind to me. She sat me down and said, Grover, you know how there's an indoor voice and an outdoor voice, and there are indoor pets and outdoor pets? Well, your collection of interesting things that people in Africa hit each other with, that's an outdoor collection, sort of a western, west of the Missouri collection. So Sama would go through the house like Medusa with better hair and look at my cool stuff, and it would turn immediately into crap. And it had to go. When you get married, there's no more farting. It wasn't a particularly big part of my life before, but it was gone. But now that we have kids and diapers everywhere, my married friends come over and fart at my house because it's safe. And they'll come over, Fred will come over and work his way into the couch and the sofa and all the pillows and stuff and fart. And my wife will get up on cue and say, I think one of the children needs changing. And in his best Eddie Haskell voice, he'll say, well, I think you're right, Mrs. Norquist. That must be what it is. And he'll leave. Goodbye, Fred. See you next week. It really doesn't matter, though, because in our house, every room has 2 or 3 candles. It looks like a Wiccan convention just before something really interesting is about to happen. You walk down the hallway and you're ankle deep in potpourri. We also have a diverse household religiously. I'm a Methodist. My wife is a Muslim, so we're keeping it in the M's. We're thinking for the kids, we got Mennonites or Mormons. Now, with the Mennonites, it's a little easier on the environment. And with the Mormons, I'm thinking if I do this right, 2 daughters, I might only have to pay for 1 wedding. But all my roommates before I got married were Christians, so I didn't know. But Muslims have some very strongly held views about how you're supposed to leave the toilet seat when you leave the lavatory. And evidently in the Quran or Hadith somewhere, it's specifically stated that it's to be down. And if you screw this up, you spend large quantities of very unpleasant time in Hades. Now, back to politics for a second. I really did a good thing the other day. I bailed out President Barack Obama on this whole health care thing. He was trying to figure out how to do it without, gutting Medicare or raising taxes. And just between, this is his idea now that I gave it to him, but just between us, I'll let you know. He's announcing this next week. Here's how we do it. It's very important in this country to have freedom of religion, okay? You can be Episcopalian or Zoroastrian, whatever it is. But under the new Obama plan, at age 70, everybody has to become a Christian Scientist. And the president tells me that his economists suggest that the cost curves really begin to bend down very significantly as a result of this. So all I'd ask is that when he announces this next week, act surprised. Thank you.